So our next lecture is not like the all previous ones. The thing is that Elena Yanovskaya has provided us the Russian version of the of her presentation. So we have posted it on YouTube. So I will try to switch on the presentation with English subtitles, and maybe I will be just reading everything in English and maybe commenting something if it will be not absolutely correct. So, well, I have done all the subtitles in Russian, so they're adequate. So now we will try to use that lecture, and let's see what happens. Let's see how it works. I have no idea how it will work. It's the first time that we're doing it not from the uploaded file, but from the YouTube. So let's see what will happen. Good afternoon, dear Congress participants. My name is Elena Yanovskaya. I'm a psychologist and engineer of biomedical electronics and technology. So I've been practicing GDV for over 20 years. Well, at this stage, I'm teaching people how to work with the GDV method, giving my own course of data interpretation. I'm conducting all kinds of research. I'm working on development of new programs. Well, in general, my life is full of GDV technologies. And today I would like to talk to you about the interpretation of chakras. Well, those of you who are using GDV method, who have Biowell devices or maybe older GDV models before Biowell, you have already seen this picture multiple times. So this is a screen from the chakra tab. And everyone who uses chakras knows that this is a very good way to determine the energy of the chakras, to determine the states of the chakras before and after any kind of practice or meditation or spiritual practices. But I would like to talk to you about it today from another point of view, from an energy. And what can we get by evaluating the chakras from this point of view? First of all, the shift of the chakras from the main axis to the right or to the left tells us that a person has some priorities. If we have a shift to the right, then it indicates that the person has some priorities in the close environment, either in relation to himself or in the area of some of his personal affairs, his family, someone close to him. So it goes to the right side, the introvert family. And in contrary, if it deviates to the left side of the screen, so it person has some social things, the relationship with other people, some area that is not perceived as close to himself. And the further away chakra from the center, the higher or more significant person needs these aspects in life. If he realizes or if he doesn't have a very strong need, then the chakra will be close enough to the center. So if there are no problems, but if the chakra has moved far enough from the center, this is an indicator that this need is the most significant at the current moment, the most significant. In addition to psychological priorities, we can determine the psychoenergetic capabilities of a person. Each chakra presented in our program has a certain size. And larger is the chakra, the greater the energy activity of this chakra. So the energy is measured in joules. We can see in front of each chakra what specific state it is in now. how big is the energetical capacity now. And accordingly, the more powerful is the chakra, the more energy it contains. More active is the person, and more opportunity has to realize some of his tasks, priorities, or needs. So if the person is more weak, less energy in the chakras, and less chance to achieve anything and get some achievements, attain the goals, and also the opportunities go to achieve the opportunities that goes down. What I have good and pleasant, good news for you now is that low potential doesn't mean that this person will always be like that. We can find ourselves in a state of low potential due to exhaustion, and accordingly, as soon as we recover, our potential will revive. So mean that we have used ourselves for a long time, used our body without rest, we have exhausted. It's not just a sharp waste of energy, but the fact that a person, accordingly to the lifestyle, constant work without break, the potential is slowly falling. This is more serious situation. It will take longer because of to restore, but this is also possible from this kind of exhaustion. Or there may be a situation where a person, there is just energy drops. That is maybe some kind of natural place or anomaly where the energy forces, the human energy is pumped out, sucked out. Accordingly, you can also recover. Maybe certain factors coincided, which as a result, sucked all the energy from a person. But in any case, if we are not talking about the fact that this is some kind of serious pathology, then the potential of chakras is restored quite quickly, usually. But we must remember that we can also lose the potential of the chakras quite quickly if we do not take care of ourselves. We take care of, if we take badly, then we lose it. In addition to psychoenergetic possibilities, there is such a direction of psychology that allows you to use the chakra program also. So we use this bookmark in such an interesting direction as choosing an action or choosing a decision. So this is a very interesting direction. I teach how, and I will teach you how to use it. So this topic is about how to make proper decisions if you have some choice in life at the current moment and you don't know where to go, like left or right, to do or not to do. So Yelena is speaking about how to apply chakras in order to make this choice. So we will conduct practical classes and in short, if a person has some choice that he cannot make, or making a decision or choice of taking some actions. For example, a person is facing some choice to go to a new job or not, or move to live to another city or not, etc. Or, for example, getting married, or change the field of activity, change jobs. Well, it can be very difficult. And due to some reason, person doubts and cannot make the decision. Something bothers him or her. The person cannot understand. Sometimes there are two decisions. Yeah. For example, there are two job opportunities, and he doesn't know in which one to go. And if a person himself cannot cope, well, we can use chakras to help to determine to go or not to go. So what is subconsciously, unconsciously, a person feels in relation to each of these choices? It is clear that our logic, our socially approved considerations and decisions sometimes prevent us from making the right choice. So we don't need to use logic. But due to the fact that Biowell captures the real state of a person, the inner state, including that we can see the psychological state of a person, bypassing the logic. so bypassing his conscious opinions, we have the opportunity to look right there into the subconscious. What do we really feel inside? And for example, if a person has a choice between two job offers, for example, at this case here, we offer a person to take measurements in initial state, in neutral, and then we offer a person to think about the first job offer, concentrate on that, make the measurement, then wait well, then think about the second job offer and make measurements again. And then, depending on what we see, we can understand how comfortable this choice is for this person individually. For example, here on the left side, a person imagined a certain job, field of activity that he decided to change. And if you pay attention, here you see that most of the chakras are slightly shifted towards the inner self. So it means this work for him will mean concentration on himself, concentration on personal things, desires, and possibilities. So this is a job, but it is not a socially significant job. But on the other hand, well, it's pleasant and interesting to the particular person. And on the right side, there's a second job offer, the second activity, which the man tried to imagine. And you see the chakras moved apart in different directions. And on one hand, some socially important, significant needs appeared, but the chakras moved far from the central axis, so much further than in the first situation. So, and also chakras have become smaller, some of them, and it turned out that the chakras went in different directions. When such things happens in the chakra picture, this indicates that a person is torn into pieces in between two worlds, and some kind of internal conflicts occurs. In this second work, it will not bring him harmony. Accordingly, even the idea itself that you can see on the chakra program like this is actually very useful. So just looking at this, you can understand that it's not giving an harmony. If you haven't done this, then try it. It's very interesting. And the main thing that you can really bypass the logic and get information from inside, from subconscious, and understand what your subconscious mind really wants in this or that situation. There are certain conditions. It is necessary that your mobile phone should be turned off during such measurements. Like other sources of information, it's necessary at that moment where when you concentrate on something, you shouldn't be disturbed by anything else, your family, loved ones, etc. So you should concentrate only on the task. And between different measurements, you need to, like stress up to before tuning into the second topic. So another story. Between these two choices, there should be a small pause, period of rest, where when you don't think about anything or just sort of disperse, so that it doesn't turn out that the feeling of one choice is superimposed on the second one. So there should be some pause. This could be such an interesting story. This is how you can make this useful interpretation. In addition, the chakra program helps me to determine the subconscious or unconscious reactions of the person. Very often there is a situation in life, at least with psychologists, when a person comes to an appointment and tells you some kind of situation and cannot decide him or herself what is wrong in this situation. Very often psychologists, in fact, and energy specialists, psychoenergetics specialists, say that people come to them and say that, well, everything is wonderful, I work and it's interesting for me here and there, and I'm doing something else, but, well, something is missing. And if sometimes it happens that knowledge of what exactly a person lacks is lacking, slips away. Person cannot concentrate on it, cannot verbalize it. So these situations, people really go to psychologists, and it takes several sessions, several visits before psychologists can figure out what is actually person is lacking. This is a big research process, in fact, with a certain number of actions, work on thyself, etc. But the chakra program allows us to catch this state much faster. And here is an example. Here are two people on this slide. Here is a man and a woman. The woman is on the left. And you have a classical picture and information, well, analysis of information of intuition, communication in society is realized by her. The chakras are not pushed very far from the center, and this means that in fact there are needs, but they're realizable. It's just like a certain priority, so everything is fine, but in her thoughts and so on. While the lower three chakras are focused on the close environment. This means that both self-confidence, sense of security, sense of energy exchange, some kind of painful actions, it happens in her family and at home. But in general, if you look very interestingly divided, this is mental activity somewhere in society, at all at work, and the lower energies, lower chakras, energy exchange, protection, security, some kind of self-realization is at home. So including from this point of view, motherhood, sexual energy are realized at home with loved ones. And that's how she tells it, but she has a feeling that something is wrong. And while she's telling all of this, and you look right in the process of telling it, we measured it again and found this picture. It turns out something is wrong. It's a lack of love. Her chakra, green one, is responsible just for love, shows that there is an urgent need for love, which she apparently doesn't receive, at least enough. And talking now about such situation, well, me as a psychologist specialist, I see this picture and understand what the problem is. And here I don't need to look for where the problem is or ask her to catch this state. I see it. We have already caught it just by measuring with the biolog. This state continues respectively asking questions and putting forward such a hypothesis that it is clear from the measurement that you have a need for love. Like you have a family, everything is fine there, but what you're missing. And when we talk about this more, it turns out that yes, there is really a lack of love, and it's quite acute because her husband works a lot and he doesn't have enough time to interact with her. And he doesn't have enough power for that when such period in life that he needs the family needs to earn money, survive, etc. And children are very immersed in their own studies and their private life. And in general, you know, how it happens when everything seems to be fine, but the family meets only at the dinner table or breakfast, and then everyone runs to their own apartments, their own business. And well, sometimes this situation suits everyone, but in many situations this can and mostly for women, because they're more emotional and more sensitive, especially from hormonal point of view. So more often women feel this lack of love and interaction, and opposite happens. It happens that it is men who do not have enough love. So women have had a feeling of lack of love. Children have grown up, no longer require such attention to themselves. And husband is very immersed in work, and she doesn't know what is happening to her. She came to find it out. And very quickly with the biowell, literally in one session, we found its cause. Accordingly, further, it is already possible to make a decision. You can think about how to implement it, how to solve this exact problem with lack of love. Spend more time like trying to figure out what's wrong there. here is a hidden motive for you, some kind of hidden unconscious reaction that she didn't think about and she didn't know that. And okay, and there is another story. Here we have a man on the right side, who is very well self-realized in society, has a good job, he's fine, he's rich, he's socially respected person, active, and well, he's a doctor, and his work is people oriented. So he's helping people, and he's very proud and satisfied with the fact that he likes that he can heal people, treat them. And at the same time, he constantly feels that some kind of anxiety and feels some kind of dissatisfaction in his life. And something constantly distracts him, and he can't understand what's actually important. He can't understand why, with this external well-being, the external pressure from work, etc., something always worries him. Something is like, well, when we began to find out what's with him, to figure out what's wrong, well, his chakras are oriented towards society. He's really all very socially oriented person. But you see, red chakra is shifted towards personal life. But it happens like this: a chakra and red one. This is chakra of self-confidence on the right side. This happens in situations where a person needs to either prove something to someone else in close environment, or that he is worth something, or to yourself sometimes also. It's natural to ask questions, but explaining to him what the device shows, and here you see the chakras clearly show that there is some kind of self-doubt. So he needs to prove to himself that he's worth something, and maybe it's someone else close and significant. I don't know. I'm not sure about, but it creates this negativity and anxiety in him, and when we began to raise this topic, it turned out that he really sets for himself really too high standards and excessive demands. He believes that he still needs to develop and become even better specialist, and he's stuck in one specialization. He's not moving forward, and maybe he's reaching some ceiling in his profession, and maybe it's wrong, and he should not be like that. He need to work more. There is opportunity to somehow stay in his place. As a result, on the one hand, it's great that a person wants such self-preservation, and on the other hand, do you see how to do it? A person overloads himself too much, and when he saw it, and it was clear, and there is another very important feature. We people love when doesn't matter what expert tells to us, we must see with our own eyes what is happening to us. So this biofeedback, when we see something related to us, and then we understand it much better, and we are more ready for some kind of action. As something in the picture, we begin to believe it more than and take it more seriously. And when this person has seen it on the picture, he has realized that, yes, he makes too high demands for himself, and the priorities are shifted in his mind, and he has decided that he could afford to work maybe a little bit less, and he can stay at his current job position, and he can just enjoy it, especially since he likes it. Well, it doesn't mean that he needs to stop his self-realization and growth, but also it means that he shouldn't be overloading himself without ceasing, forgetting that you need to enjoy life. Yep. Another interesting possibility that I often observe, I define with my clients, search of psychological internal conflicts. Here, even as this search is not always directly needed, often people come with some kind of feelings. that nothing works out, that like I have sea problems and I cannot just move forward. I have to do one thing, but I do something opposite. Um, I constantly put off some important things and so on. And such situations, not always, but often enough, it's due to the fact that there is some kind of internal psychological conflict. Here I have presented you two options for the conflict, internal conflict between you want and you should do. Well, a classical conflict. It is often encountered by psychologists and during their consultations when we have some kind of urgent needs that we would like to realize, but the objective reality, the life, forces us to realize absolutely different thing, what we have to, we must do. When I want to and receive or want and dream, but not torn between want and should. So, well, in childhood, when our parents were responsible for our lives and we could do whatever we wanted and we can afford it, it's just wonderful to be in this state of like, I want. But it's good to be in such state when we are growing up. We often stumble upon this notion of we should do something, we must do. And here's clearly demonstrated. For example, on the left, look, we have a situation, and how do we define the conflict? We see the chakras that are the most scattered, most deviated from the center, and they must be beyond the normal size usually. And we have the green zone in the on the screen in the middle. It's more gray on the screen, but nevertheless, this zone is here, and here we find the most distant chakras deviating from the center. And by understanding what specific chakras are deviated, we can find the cause of the conflict. Here on the left in the picture, you can see that yellow chakra has shifted to the extroverse society. This is chakra of responsibility, duty, that is associated with willpower, and we see that to the right, to the introverse, we see the green chakra is moved, love, spiritual feelings, and so on. And here the woman has a completely classical conflict. She really needs love and she really wants some kind of warm feelings and so on. But in society, at work, there is very tough need to realize something, insist on her own opinion, and so on. Very competitive environment. And this happens to people whose work is connected with the fact that you need to be very tough in management. So where you need to make serious decisions, serious leadership actions required. So you have to act tough. For example, like sports trainer, coach, he cannot let athlete to do whatever he wants because he comes to some Olympic games. The coaches have to be really tough, very serious, to be real tough leaders. And if this is not exactly what a person needs, or if it's too much, distortion goes to this volatilitational sphere. Well, in skull periods, to be scruff of the neck, he must force himself to do something by force. Well, to work and to use it for the benefit of the company, the state, society, or whatever. But the conflict remains inside, in the soul. I don't want to do all of this. I don't want to strain my willpower to use it. I want love and happiness, you know, there's lack of it. Flowers, dances, hugs, love from others, and so on. So that's when this conflict appears, and it looks like this. And in fact, as it should be, sometimes it's enough to see the conflict in order to understand what is actually wrong, and then start taking actions. So here is a very interesting direction. So great help to psychologists to see the conflict clearly so quickly with the use of the biwell. And here is another conflict, which is represented here on the right, when an uppermost violet chakra is shifted into society, and the blue chakra, the third from the top, is shifted in the opposite direction to the internal environment. So picture might look like when a person needs to act, to work somehow intellectually, you need to load your head, maybe study, maybe there's some kind of other work and activity for maybe accountants, especially when they have some big reports or some calculations for scientists, some reports preparing. This is how the picture may look like. If you really want to chat about something interesting, sit with friends or relatives, discuss maybe some interesting topics for you, chat with close friends, etc., where you can have a pleasant talk about something interesting for you. But you have to sit down and do the work, and this is the conflict. It's not just that we saw this conflict. Usually it's not that a person comes and says, let you find a conflict in me. Usually a person says, I don't get along at work. I have been writing reports for 3 years. I can't describe it. I can't do something that I should. I put it off all the time. In such situations, we offer a person to concentrate on these states and tell us about it in details. And right during the process, we make the captures of the fingers during the person in this state, and while the person is still talking and telling us about very being emotional and mental state, we catch this state and we capture the fingers and we catch the conflict. And when he sees this on the screen, very often this is enough to understand that in some cases it is necessary to shift priorities in life. Sometimes, somewhere, it may be different to allocate time or tasks, so you need to change something in life. This is enough for a person to say, oh yeah, I understand, I need the help of my colleagues, let them help me. It's not like I should do everything myself. I will jump over this dead end, I will overcome it. And here's another opportunity to explore a person and determine some of personal features. And there's another one example, not so tragic, but nevertheless very interesting example. On the left, we have a picture that shows us what a retired teacher actually looks like, but the teacher who loves her job very much. She loves children very much, loves to do that interaction with kids, but she's retired. So she has some business, she has like things at home, she does what she likes actually, but everything is fine. But this longing for work, longing for the prior occupation in which she has well, like soul connection, this is how it manifests itself. And when you see the green chakra is quite large and strong, it's the most centered, but not yet realize what was going wrong and so on. But she was always drawn there into. She likes to advise people something, she likes to interact and sympathize and tell if something is wrong. So she likes the interaction and communication. And she sometimes visits her prior work, but she comes to her prior work just to communicate with other teachers, not to actually interact with kids. That's what she really loves. And so in this state, you can see that everything has to be like this with her. She said, oh, I understand. The retirement is over. It's just that I'm no more retired. I will no longer plant flowers, etc. And I want to go for a walk anymore. I want to continue my business. And she has opened the special groups for kids, sections for children, and she now helps them to prepare to exams, to study some subjects, additional materials about nature or something else, and she has realized herself just by continuing working. And in this way, she has understood what the problem was, and she has got it and turned it into longing and drew her own conclusions from this, well, just to make her life better. And here is another person, another example on the right. It's a big business owner, top manager, and everything is great, strictly speaking. There's already no serious internal conflicts, but nevertheless, we simply had an agreement with him. So he went for a vacation, and well, we measured his condition, and he was interested to see how the vacation will affect him. So when he returned back from vacation a week later, he started his work already, like get into it, and he measured his condition again, and he saw this. And I have explained to him that, and he laughed a lot about it, because if you look at this picture, you can see that he is already socially oriented. You see most of the chakras deviate to the left side, but and the left and red chakra is shifted most to of all. He has already turned on his leadership qualities. He turned on his professionalism as a top manager. She is focused on work, and only one chakra, the second one, that speaks about the need for material creativity, some energy exchange, like as an art, as energy exchange on a sexual level, like associated with hugs, as exchange of energy, etc. And in close surroundings, at home and so on. And even having already started work, his need of energy accumulation remained with him, and he didn't go anywhere. It's very clear here. This need stayed with him. And it's funny because actually this chakra is one of the biggest in this scan. So he has gained enough energy to work, but at this state, when after vacation that he has already ended and he came back to work, he still remembers the vacation, well, with thinking like, oh, it would be like back, it would be great to return back to the sea and mountains, etc., where it felt so good, cloudless, serenity and health, etc. And how it's quite visible and funny. He laughed at himself and said, well, that's why I can't unpack my suitcase until now, even 1 week later after returning. Still my swimming suit is there, and my sunglasses and my bright summer t-shirts that I cannot wear at work, they're still there, and I don't want to pull them out from the suitcase. Well, it's clear there is such a funny internal conflict, although formally, from the point of view of psychology, this is also some kind of internal conflict. Well, but there is no big negativity in it. But if you take it seriously, then it would be much like if he will not think about it so lightly, like easily, oh yeah, oh, like it's just the bag, etc. So, but I'm at work, it's fine. So, but if some people may put too much significance into this problem, and then it can become really serious that you have to work, but you still want to go for a vacation. But this state is not acute, so, but it's interesting. And as a conclusion, I would like to tell you that all my observation in this life, in my work with the biowell, with GDV method, shows that positive emotions, they restore energy. They restore energy and accumulate it and helps us. And whatever happens in life, no matter how difficult it will be, it is in the world, no matter what happens in your life, look for your resources, look for your energy anchors, the bases that you can connect to recover, to enjoy, connect to your joy, and remember that the world doesn't consist only of difficulties. Well, everybody has own difficulties, of course, but nevertheless, I wish you to have more such positive anchors in life, so that there are more reasons to smile, less reasons to be upset and worry about, and so that the chakras will always be strong, active, and harmonious. And I will be glad to cooperate with any one of you who wants to cooperate. Here are my contacts, and I have the opportunity to do research, different different things, and I know how to interpret data, and I'm ready to cooperate, ready to chat, and I have to desire. If you have a desire to learn my method, then I will be glad to see you among my friends or colleagues or students. Thank you for your attention, and all the best to you. I hope my translation was not so bad, even though it was very fast. I was not even able to read everything from the screen, but at least I remember by heart what were those 10 pages of text that I was translating. So, well, you see, again, we are speaking about this application of BioWell during our sessions, well, specifically for psychologists, of course, because you just pay attention to the fact that Elena is making interpretation even for those chakras that are shifted within the green zone. It's the level of, you know, mastership, the skills, you know, like Guru Raj in the previous lecture, he was doing interpretation of these even small shifts, just slightly more than 10%. He was already able to correlate with specific symptoms in the person. Here, Elena is also able to correlate these specific problems in life of the person with these even small shifts towards left or right of the person in the chakras. So very interesting approaches, you know, to find these internal conflicts, to help the person to make a decision. As we discuss on our classes, that, well, it's nothing difficult. You just ask the person to concentrate on something, and while the person is being concentrated, you do the scan. Or you ask the person to speak about some problem or some situation or some plan, and then you do the scan, and then you can see if it's bringing a harmony to the person, or it is bringing chaos, this decision. And then it will be easier for a person to, after all, make personal decision. You don't have to make any recommendations. Person will see him or herself on the screen with the chakras.